Hello. In this chapter, we're going to build a computer mouse from scratch. In this first lesson, we'll look at importing reference images that we can design and build our curves around. These are the images that we'll be bringing into Rhino. We have a side view, a top view, and a front view. And these are just some loose concept sketches I pulled together. And as I said, we'll bring these into Rhino and we'll generate our 3D curves around them and build up our model based on this basic concept design. So let's go ahead and start bringing these into Rhino. There's a couple of different ways to bring images into Rhino to use as reference. The first way to bring an image in to use as a background is right under the viewport menu. And we're not going to use this way, but I will demonstrate how you do it. And we just go to background bitmap. We would choose place. I would pick one of my views. I would give it a first corner location, and then I can either type a size, and in this case it's going to be 120 millimeters. And you can see it's placed the object. I'll just hit F7 to switch that grid off. Once we place the image, we're actually still in the middle of the command until we hit enter again. And this gives us some options for modifying the image. We can scale it, we can move it, we can switch it from a grayscale to a color image if there was a lot of color in this image. Once we have it set the way we want it, we can just hit enter again and that finishes the command. As I said, we're not going to use this method, and the reason for that is if I go back to my 4 viewports, you see we can only see this mouse image in this viewport. We can't actually see that in the perspective mode. So we want to use a different method, a method called picture framing. And picture framing is a little different than place background image because a picture frame will allow us to see the images in this perspective window. So let me just go ahead and cancel the background image, and I'll click on the top viewport, and I'll hit background image remove. There's a number of ways we can invoke the picture frame command. The first is just to start typing the word picture frame. The other is go to the viewport layout, and it's this icon right here. Or we can go over to the surface creation menu and select the icon from here. As soon as we click on the icon, a window opens up asking us to find our file. If you'd like to follow along, please go into your sample file locations, go into chapter 3, and for this first one, we'll go ahead and place the mouse side view. So I'll click on mouse side view to select it and hit open. I'm going to place this in the right viewport, so I'll click over here to make that active. I'm going to type a 0 to place the first corner of this box in the 0, 0 location. And if I bring up the original image again, you can see I've closely cropped the picture so it's right at the boundaries of the actual sketch. I come back to Rhino, I'm still in the command. So I know that my mouse is going to be about 120 millimeters long, so now I can just type 120 and press enter. And I'll zoom out just a little bit, and I'll hold down the shift key and drag off to the right. As soon as I do that, I've placed the picture frame. It's in my right viewport now. And you can see if I go up to my perspective window, it's also available. So as I move around, I can see it on either side. And as I bring in my other views, the top and the front view, we're also going to be able to see those in the perspective viewport all the time. So for now, we have that in the right viewport. Let me go over to the top viewport. And this time I'll click on the viewport layout icon. Same exact command, just in a different location. And I'll choose the mouse top view. Double click that. It wants the first corner of the picture frame because my object snaps are on and I have an end snap on. I can snap here. And again, I'll type 120. And I'll drag up and click. As soon as I do that, you can see it's placed. Let me go over to the perspective viewport here. So even though it's placed, it's not in the exact location I want that. And this is another thing that's nice about using picture frame versus background image, is I can go ahead and click on that. Let me switch off Gumball here temporarily. And I can click on the move icon, and because my midpoint snap is on, I can click mid. And I'll drag this and bring the midpoint of this top view down so that it meets up to the midpoint of the side view. So now I have that placed. I can still select that surface. And I'm just going to come over to the right view and I'll bring that down so that we're down on the ground plane. And let's apply the command one more time. This time I'll type picture frame, so P-I-C-T, and you can see on the command line it autofills the word picture frame in for me. I'll just press enter, click the mouse, hit open, And I'm going to go to my front view. Let me zoom out just a little bit. I'll type a 0, put me right in that lower corner. And I'll go ahead and scale this up. Now the one thing I didn't do is check how wide my mouse is. So let me go to my perspective viewport, and I'll click on my drafting tools, and I'll select my linear dimension. I'll click here, and I'll click here, and I'll drag. And you can see I now know that the width of that is 64.18. So I don't have to click and apply it, I can just hit escape to finish it. I'll go ahead and type the word picture frame again. Grab the mouse front view, go to my front view here, type 0, and then type 64.18. And then drag. I'll highlight this part, and I'm going to go ahead and move this. Go to my standard viewport, select move, and I'll move the mid to the mid. There we go. So now I have all the images of my mouse fully defined, and they're all scaled with one another. You can see the mouse is a little taller in this front viewport. It looks like a mismatch, but actually the high point of the side view is back here. So they are actually scaled the same. And now that we have these images in, we can go ahead and start building the curves.